gonna be just like senior year, except for funner.
Hey everyone, I'm Kendra.
Hi, I'm Mercedes, and this week we're talking about the world's most popular law student in Legally Blonde.
But first, we want to welcome you guys to the Rom-Com Room. This is
Yay!
a brand new show from Meet Cute, and this is our first episode, and we are so excited.
Oh my god, I cannot believe this is real. I'm so ready to dive deep into rom-coms with you, Kendra, and just like share these things we love. I don't know about anyone listening, but sometimes I fall victim to describing my favorite rom-com as a guilty pleasure. And here at the Rom-Com Room, we're ready to erase the guilty and just make it a pleasure because we want to celebrate the genre and we want people to love it. And we just want like to discuss all the facets of this genre and like celebrate and explore rom-coms and really test the boundaries of like what a rom-com is and like have fun while we're doing it.
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, Mercedes. I mean, this is just a space for all rom-com lovers, hopeless romantics, hopeful romantics, even movie geeks to just sit back, relax, and hang out with us in the rom-com room. So I'm Kendra, and I'm a total, complete hopeless romantic, but I'm also a self-proclaimed late bloomer. I'm just a person who's older and has very little to no experiences in love, but I do have a superpower, Mercedes. I can always sense when someone is about to fall in love. And it's happened to me like 7 times in my life, but here's what happens. If someone sits down with me and is just like, gosh, Kendra, I'm so tired of being single, I'm ready to find someone, you will literally meet someone 2 weeks later. It is uncanny. I feel like I am the love fairy when it comes to my friends. But I am someone who can sense love so easily, whether it's in a photograph, in a movie, between two people before they even see it in themselves. And I absolutely love it. I feel like my heart was meant to love and be loved. Aww. And love is my favorite language because it's universal.
Okay, guys, you heard it here. Kendra's the love guru. She's going to tell me when I'm going to fall in love.
I got you, Mercedes. I got you. Don't even worry. Sit back and relax because I got you. I'll let you know.
Oh my God, that's so comforting. So yes, I am Mercedes. I love to say that I have a bachelor's in rom-coms and a master's in memes because that's what I studied for my thesis projects. And yeah, I just love pop culture from like sitcoms to boy bands, but rom-coms really just like hold my heart and have been there for me through everything my whole life. I watch them, I rewatch them, I love to read about them, and now I get to talk to Kendra about them. I'm so excited. And for this one, we're talking about Legally Blonde. And you may be thinking, is Legally Blonde even a rom-com? And trust me, I asked a bunch of my friends, polled them. The verdict is all over the place. This is kind of a polarizing question, actually. And I've heard a lot of people are like, I don't know, like my friends kind of bickered about it. But here we really just want to talk about all the facets of like Elle Woods and the way she loves self-love, romantic love, professional love. There are so many ways that she loves on this journey through this movie. And just like people don't take Elle seriously, people also don't take rom-com seriously. And we really want to bump that. And our first assumption with rom-coms is that they have to be a perfect 50-50 ratio of rom and com, but Legally Blonde really challenges that, and I'm so excited to get into it.
Yeah, and I feel like because this movie is such a cult classic, people have a really hard time classifying it as just simply a rom-com. Yes. Because it's just kind of ingrained into all of our minds when we think of movies and when we think of romance and we think of comedy, so it's just hard to pin down. And I also feel like most rom-coms follow a formula, right? It's usually boy meets girl, girl dislikes boy and girl go through a series of mishaps together, and boy and girl fall in love and live happily ever after. And Legally Blonde challenges that formula so seamlessly, right? This film is not only about finding love along the way, but it's also about discovering self-love. It's about falling in love with your career, and it's about feeling empowered and realizing that there's so much more to yourself than people make you out to be. And I really love that.
Oh, I love it.
But now, Mercedes, let's kick it off with your celebrity crush of the week. Who are you crushing on this week?
Oh my God. So I must pay homage to the 5th and final season of Search Party, all streaming on HBO Max if you're ever interested. It's probably one of my favorite shows to ever exist. John Paul Reynolds, who plays Drew. He may not always be the most likable or the most kind-hearted character, but you know what? He is 6'5", and I appreciate that. And I love him.
Okay, I will be honest. I like to pride myself on how many celebrities I know. I don't know who John Paul Reynolds is. How long have you been watching Search Party?
So I've been watching for the last couple years. It was originally on TBS, and now it moved to HBO the last 3 seasons. But it's all there for you. He was also on Mindy Kaling's version of Four Weddings and a Funeral on Hulu. And he always plays kind of like a whiny, slouchy boy. And I just love him.
You know who you also love, I've noticed, Mercedes, is Mindy Kaling. Like, whenever we talk about her, you've seen all of her stuff.
I am a diehard Mindy. I'm looking at her 2 books on my bookshelf right now. I love
There
her
you go.
so much. Yes.
Mindy Kaling, if you're listening, you have a dedicated fan here. So my celebrity crush of the week, I feel like I'm the only Black person who watches Yellowstone, but it is the best show ever. Yellowstone is epic. If you like Peaky Blinders and The Sopranos, you're gonna love Yellowstone. And my crush from that is Luke Grimes, who plays Casey Dutton. He is such Oh my gosh, he is such a boss on that show, and I can't even stand it. Like, this show makes me want to go to Montana and frolic in the fields and hang out with cows and bison, and I've never wanted to do that before.
Also, shout out to Yellowstone for their SAG awards or SAG nominations today.
Oh, congratulations to the Yellowstone cast. That's awesome. We will be watching the SAG Awards. But now, listeners, I want to know who your celebrity crush is of the week. Please DM us at MeetCute. Let us know. We always love to hear who you guys are crushing on. All right, listeners, this is TLDR, where we summarize a movie for those of you who have been sleeping for the past 20 years. Warning, there are spoilers ahead, and if you'd like to watch this film, you can buy it on Amazon Prime Video. Okay, so in Legally Blonde, we are introduced to fashion sorority queen Elle Woods, played by Reese Witherspoon, who wants literally absolutely nothing more than to be proposed to by her boyfriend Warner, played by Matthew Davis. On the night that she believes she's going to be proposed to, Warner actually dumps her because he says he needs someone more serious, and Elle is just not serious enough, unfortunately. His reasoning is because he's going to Harvard Law School. Now, Elle is absolutely crushed, but wastes no time absolutely devising a plan to get him back. And what is that plan, you may ask? She's going to go to law school too, at Harvard. So after a lot of work, Elle gets in, and she quickly realizes it's not all that's cracked up to be. She's just having a really hard time making friends. She's struggling in her classes with her professors. And worst of all, she learns that Warner is now engaged to someone else, Vivian Kensington, played by Selma Blair. Now, it's just so awful. It feels like her only source of comfort is her nail technician, Paulette, who's played by Jennifer Coolidge, and of course, her adorable Chihuahua Bruiser. When Elle realizes that absolutely no matter what she does, Warner's never gonna see her as good enough. He's never gonna take her seriously. She decides to just go all in with law school. She gets a laptop. She has all of these things. And she gets much needed advice from an older alum, Emmett, played by Luke Wilson. So after some much needed change, you start to see that Elle gets the hang of law school, which is really awesome. And everyone starts to notice, especially her professors, so much so that she gets accepted to assist on a case with her professor Callahan, played by Victor Garber. Now, Elle learns that they are defending Brooke Wyndham, a potential murderer and also former Delta Nu sorority member, played by Allie Larder. Brooke and Elle quickly bond over their shared interests, and when Callahan makes unwanted advances towards Elle, Brooke fires him and makes Elle her legal counsel, and it turns out, as my favorite storyline always ends, Elle never needed to change anything about her. It was actually her love of Cosmo magazine and beauty tips that helped her win the case and set Brooke free. Yes. So years later, on her graduation from law school, Elle finally gets a proposal that she's always wanted from Emmett, surprisingly.
Aww.
So this is a 2001 film directed by Robert Lukatek, who also directed The Ugly Truth and Killers. Obviously, he likes to work with Katherine Heigl. And also, one of my all-time favorite rom-coms, Mercedes, is Win a Day with Tad Hamilton. I cannot tell you how much I love that movie.
So underrated.
So underrated. Thank you. And you may be more familiar with the writer, Karen McCullough, because she's she's written like The House Bunny, She's the Man, Elle Enchanted, literally all your favorite rom-coms, and 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh my God, iconic.
Absolutely iconic. You know, it's really funny. Just if we're talking about like fun industry facts about this movie, I learned that actually Reese Witherspoon and Matthew Davis were both in London filming another movie when they had to film the very ending scene, like the graduation scene again. Yeah, because like they had wrapped on filming, and then it turns out that they like tested audience with this movie, and they're like, wait, no, we love Elle, we want to know what happens to her, and that's why we have the whole prologue. But they're both wearing wigs. They both look a lot more tan, like they just look different.
You can tell her hair looks so different.
It looks so different, but it's okay because it's supposed to be like, you know, like 4 years later. So it's not natural that she looks different. But everyone else, I know, and it's so them. This is the magic of editing, Mercedes. Everyone else was in LA, and they just cut the film, like the scene together to make it look like they were all in the same room. How cool is that?
Okay, movie magic.
That's what we do in this industry.
Okay, did you know Elle was originally written to go to Stanford? Like Stanford Law. But they have a rule. They're so strict about filming on campus. Like, if you're an Insecure fan, they let Insecure film this past year, and that was like the first time in like years, decades that they let somebody film on campus.
Well, because Issa's an alum too.
Exactly, and she's an icon. And that's why they changed it to Harvard, because like she would have been at Stanford Law this whole time. Imagine, totally different movie.
Totally different movie. Well, because also, too, they already went to undergrad in California, so they would have just stayed in California.
Exactly.
But now it's time for the time capsule. This is time where we like to recall where we were the year that this movie came out. Mercedes, this movie came out in 2001. I don't know about you, but I was 8 years old. What were you doing?
Okay, I was 5. I have zero memory of when this movie came out, but I do have this feeling that it's just always been around. Do you get that feeling, Legally Blonde? Like,
100%.
It's always playing on TV since before I ever knew anything. And I remember like seeing like Elle Woods Barbies, I'm pretty sure, and like just memorizing all those lines and seeing it on like, I don't know, like school supplies. And like I feel like one of the reasons I love pink is probably because of Elle Woods.
Absolutely. She shaped our love of colors. Exactly.
Yes.
Who did you have a crush on? I know you were only 5, but I don't know about you, but I had crushes on people when I was 5.
Oh my God. Okay, so I'll start with my celebrity crushes. I was heavily crushing on Bow Wow at the time.
Oh, yes.
And it's interesting because if you know me in real life, you know I'm a major directioner, and Harry Styles was always my favorite. And people now will do side-by-sides of Bow Wow and Harry, like explaining how similar their faces are. And I was like, okay, so I guess I do have a type. It's beautiful. It's beautiful men.
I love it. Like I said, when this movie came out, I was only 8 years old, and I have always kept a diary. Like I think when I was 7 is when I started, and so I was looking at like my past entries from when I was 8, and I just want to read one to you because it's so funny. Oh my
gosh, yes.
Okay, so my very first diary entry was on Monday, January 8th, 2001. So happy 21-year anniversary. And it said, I have a big crush on Castra. I love him very much. He knows I love him already. My friends told him, but I do not know if he likes me. And that kind of makes me sad because that's literally still the case of my life. Me liking guys and them not liking me back. But
it's just so funny. Know it though. At least you like share the love.
Oh, I was so bold back then. I was so bold back. And also when you're a kid, your crush changes like every day. I know that I loved Castra because I wrote about him for like 6 months in my diary. Gosh. That's a long time for an 8-year-old.
I mean, that's a long time for me now.
Yeah. Can't commit to anything.
Exactly. Literally. Oh God. Yeah, like I remember having such a big crush on this boy who played soccer with me, and I don't know if his name was Austin or Houston. All I remember is that he had a mullet. And I just remember, which is a different look, like very different from anybody else on the team. And I just remember thinking his hair was so interesting, and that's why I was crushing on him, because I was
that's so funny.
Yeah.
You have such eclectic taste, Mercedes. I don't think the listeners know, so we've actually never met each other in real life.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So we've never met like each other's significant others or anything like that. So I'm always intrigued to hear more about who you like.
I know. I love learning about Kendra's crushes too, because we are very different with our
We are very different. But similar in the same way, in the sense that we both love rom-coms. I feel like in terms of my celebrity crush at that time, I will never forget the first day I ever heard Eminem. I was in my mom's car and we were listening to Z100, which is the radio station in Portland, and I heard his song My Name Is came on. I'm pretty sure that's what this song was. And that was when I like started listening to rap music. I won't say it was because of Eminem. I think it was more because of my brother, but like I remember the first time I heard him and I had a huge crush on him and I was like 8.
Oh, that is so funny. Eminem.
Why were my parents letting me listen to him? No idea. But
dude, I think about that all the time. Like I was obsessed with syndicated sitcoms. Like any chance I got, I wanted to watch Boy Meets World because I thought it made me so grown up. Yeah. So Corey Matthews and Sean Hunter have played such a role in my life, like consistently as like, oh my goodness, like I'm not a 90s kid, obviously, but because I was just like too young to remember it. But oh my God, those boys on any, like, thank you to ABC Family for replaying those episodes for years and years.
Mercedes, that is we need to have a whole episode dedicated to Boy Meets World, even though it's not a rom-com, but just like, you are so right. Yes. Corey Matthews and Sean Hunter shaped who I was as a person.
Exactly.
I would have to add Lucas Scott and Brooke Davis as well from One Tree Hill. Shaped.
Wait, fun fact. You know me and Brooke Davis had the same English teacher, Sophia Bush and I.
Stop. Yeah. Are you serious?
Yeah. And he's an amazing English teacher, by the way, Mr. Goss.
What's his name? Mr. Goss?
Yeah.
Shout out to Mr. Goss. We love you. Thank you for shaping the young,
God.
beautiful minds.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, listeners, it is time for the Rom-Com Hall of Fame. This is just a time where we get to geek out about the rom-com and everything in it. But first, Mercedes, we do have to roast this movie. I mean, every rom-com deserves a good roast, so
Hell yeah.
let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about what doesn't age well, we obviously have to address Professor Callahan's sexual harassment storyline.
Yes.
It's painful to watch, and I wish Elle never had to deal with any of that and deal with such a grotesque man who she trusted. And I don't know, I know it drives plot and it's such an important issue to bring up, but it's just so sad because this is continuously happening. It's so prevalent now in academia and like far beyond in every area. So it's just heartbreaking to see, but I think that's like the main thing that hurts my heart.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot with the Me Too movement that's been happening over the past few years. And so it is just really hard. I think that was obviously a storyline that did not age well. I would also say feeling like you have to get married at 22 does not age well.
Yeah.
And thinking that like the world is ending or life is over because you're 22 and you're not getting proposed to. I just feel like a woman... Okay, I love Legally Blonde, so this is not bashing on it, I promise. But just like the whole storyline of a woman having to change everything about herself so that a man will love her. Like, we need to remember, ladies, that we are the prize to be won. All right. And there's nothing that you should have to change about yourself for a guy like you, because love does not require you to change your whole being, but it does require you to grow as a person and to grow with another person.
Yes.
So I am someone who has been single for most of my life, and I still have hope that there's someone out there for me. Maybe he's listening. Hello, shout out to my future husband. But I just hope that everyone who struggles with self-image just remembers that they are perfect as they are, and you do not need to change anything about yourself, and you are 100% deserving of the love that you desire.
Oh my goodness, I wish I could listen to that on repeat every single morning as my daily affirmations. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I love it. Okay, another thing in this movie that is very prevalent in like all early 2000s, 90s, because any movie like marketed toward women at this time, there was just so much around diet culture and around like praising thinness. And it comes here in like subtle ways and little ways. And I just like, that's something that like all of those movies just grinds my gears about, because there's always something to do with body image and always slight comments that are like fat phobic or whatever. And I don't know, it just, those always rub me the wrong way.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, Mercedes, we have to acknowledge, like, a lot of these movies that we're going to be talking about, especially Legally Blonde, like, they deal with the issue of lack of diversity as well.
Yes.
Like, we made these rom-coms in, like, the early 2000s, mid-2000s, and it's just all white cast, like, people of color don't fall in love, too. Or people of color don't have these same experiences. And so it's just... I feel like that's a topic we're always going to revisit in not only this episode, but in future episodes as well. It's like, let's talk about the lack of diversity here. And I feel like, too, for a young girl watching rom-coms growing up, I will say, like, a part of it made me sad. It made me think, like, am I never going to fall in love? And then, obviously, as a 29-year-old who's never been in love, that doesn't make me feel better. But I still feel like I'm happy that rom-coms and, like, just movies in general are starting to go more in that direction of being more diverse, because it's important for the youngsters watching.
Yes. We need to see ourselves and see so many different people on screen just so we can celebrate love in all its forms. Also, I must say, this is a little random, but why is Lisa Cardellini's character named Chutney? Have you ever met somebody named Chutney? That didn't age well for me, because that's not a name. That's my
You
major
are so
roast.
right. You are so right, Mercedes. I've never thought of that before. I've never met someone named Chutney. I don't even, what origin is that?
Dude, I would be so pissed at my parents too if they named me Chutney. I'd be livid. So no wonder she went off like that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, listeners, welcome to Quotability. This is where we talk about our favorite quotes from the movie. I want to start off because I had to rewind this part like 3 times because it just makes me laugh so hard. So the quote is,
Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands.
like, she makes a valid point.
Oh my God. Legally Blonde has some of the best quotes. And you see them every year around graduation time because they're all covered on everyone's grad caps every single
Yes.
year. And they're always on, like, a woman is starting law school when they get a mug with a Legally Blonde quote on it. Like, that's just like the fact of it. Like, it's always on like pink binders. Like, I remember when I started grad school, I was just like, should I get this thing that has a Legally Blonde quote? Like, is this going to motivate me? One of my favorite quotes is,
Whoever said orange is the new pink was seriously disturbed.
because it's just so perfect. And just her inflection when she says these things, like Elle Woods could easily be an irritating character. But Reese Witherspoon brings something so special to her that's so endearing that even in moments of like total like vapid judgment, you're like, yes, I agree with you. Who would ever think that orange is the new pink?
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I completely agree with you there that there is something endearing about Reese Witherspoon in this role where she makes it more relatable than antagonizing, you know, and I really appreciate that about her. Okay, the last one is so when they're in the courtroom and the pool boy is like testifying and he like they're taking a break and he goes again. So he's like,
Don't stomp your little last season Prada shoes at me, honey.
and then she runs up to Warner. She's like, Warner, what kind of shoes are these? He's like, black ones. It's like straight men don't know designer shoes.
Oh my God. Also, when Paulette gets the courage to take her dog back from her ex, and she just goes,
I'm taking the dog. Dumbass.
I love it. And I love when Ariana Grande does her impression of that line. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it.
It's impeccable.
You know, Ariana Grande does do really good impressions. I have seen
She's
some.
so
She does
good.
too.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the last one is just because, you know, Elle and Vivian had a very tumultuous relationship. Like, Vivian was just absolutely horrible to her. Like, even goes so far as to lie to her and say that they're going to a costume party. And Elle shows up. Super cute, by the way. She looks amazing in that costume, that bunny costume.
Yeah.
But I love the quote when she says,
Oh, I like your outfit too, except when I dress up as a frigid bitch, I try not to look so constipated.
I was like, dang. Like, that's a 2001 roast right there. Just like how we used to say, like, up your button around the corner. Like, that's a 2001 roast there.
Oh my God, I hadn't heard that one in so long.
Right? I'm just throwing it back now, Mercedes. This is part of the time capsule. So would you, okay, if this movie came up on your Tinder feed, would you swipe left or right?
Always and forever swipe right. Honestly, just for the outfits alone. And then everything else, I'm obsessed with this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
How about you?
I would swipe right too. I feel like this is just a perfect story of believing in yourself and finding love on your journey. And also knowing that you don't have to be perfect, but working towards the best version of you. I feel like everyone needs that in their lives. So swiping
Yes,
right.
Definitely. Always.
Yes. Welcome to Couples Therapy, where we give dating advice to the characters and how they can improve on their relationship. All right. So I just feel like you should always date the person who makes you, like I said, the best version of yourself. And that is Emmett for Elle. I love how much in the movie he like steps back and encourages her. And like even during the final courtroom scene, he'd always just like nod at her and be like, you got this. Just like really supporting her. And I just feel like Emmett really gave Elle the space to be her own person and never judged her and never like tried to change her. And I think that's something really significant that people need in a partner. I would say that I hope that they continue to love and support each other and remember that they are a team. Now, of course, because I'm taking this out of context, I have not seen Legally Blonde 2 because we have to acknowledge there is a sequel, and I have not seen it in many a moons. So this is all just advice for right now. I feel like I just hope Elle and Emmett continue to remember that they are a team and to support and love each other.
Yes, I mean, I think with Emmett, Elle found a relationship that's so healthy and it's mutual. And she also just like learned more about herself in the process where this person's cheering her on as she's growing. And that's like really all you want. Like she discovered her strengths separate from a man and built a full life that wasn't revolved around like getting an engagement, getting back with Warner. And she like gained more friendships. She gained more confidence professionally and like has all this professional success now and becomes a freaking lawyer, which is not easy. And like none of that at the end of the day was centered around a significant other. Her like Emmett just becomes like a bonus, you know? And with Warner, Elle was living in the hopes of a marriage. Well,
Mm-hmm.
with Emmett, she's just living for herself, and the relationship is just a bonus, and I love that. And like from the get-go, she has such wonderful qualities, but
Mm-hmm.
then once she really discovers more about herself and sees herself like stand on her own, that's when you
Mm-hmm.
see that she flourishes even more. And I don't know, just like she,
Yeah.
like her grad speech, she like learns how to have faith in herself, which is just so beautiful to see.
Mercedes, do you have a time in your life where you have felt like the most empowered as a
Oh
woman?
my goodness. That is such a good question. I don't know. I think like when I get into the groove of like talking about like my like passions and like my little curiosities as far as like research and like media studies goes, like when I like
Mm-hmm.
get down to it and like really let that flourish, I'm like so proud of myself because I can just let it
Yeah.
flow when I'm in the groove and I'm not trying to prove it to other people. I'm just like sharing things that I really love. How about you?
Oh gosh, no. So I am a solo traveler and I've traveled to 20 countries and I've taken 15 solo travel trips. And I make travel content on TikTok and I just feel like nothing
Yeah.
is more empowering to me than a woman solo traveling. Going to a
Mm-hmm.
country where you don't know anyone, you don't speak the language, but figuring it out. Because a big thing about me is I don't plan my trips. And I think the most empowering solo trip I've taken is to Mongolia. Because like
Ooh.
one, who goes to Mongolia? No one. And I learned that when I was there. There's very few tourists there. And two, like the Mongolian isn't even in like they don't even use the English alphabet. Like it's
Wow.
the Russian alphabet. And I love that I connected with people. I met people that challenged my perspective. I got to see new things and I survived. Like I went camping in the Gobi Desert for 5 days
Oh
and I
my
survived.
goodness.
And I just feel like that was my Elle Woods moment. That's what the moment that I felt the most empowered. Going to a
Yeah.
country by myself where I don't know anyone and literally surviving. So
Oh my God, I love that so much. Also, if you're not following Kendra's TikToks, where she discusses solo travel, she gives such amazing tips, by the way. Oh, the
aw.
queen of the solo travel.
You're the sweetest Mercedes, thank you. But we have to remember too, Emmett and Elle are not the only couple in this movie.
So true.
Paulette and the hot UPS guy. We don't actually know his name. He's just hot UPS guy.
That's
What
all we need
advice?
to know.
That's all we need to know. The actor's name is Bruce Thomas. But what advice would you give to them, Mercedes?
Oh my goodness. I just want Paulette to build on the confidence that she's already working on
Yeah.
because she has so much going for her and she just needs to celebrate herself even more. And Elle
Mm-hmm.
really teaches her how to do that in lots of ways and really find her voice again after heartbreak. And I love that for her. I just want to see her flourish. And like, you know, when you have some arm candy on you, that's definitely going to give you a boost and she deserves it.
Absolutely, 100%. She deserves it. I feel like I always want to remind them to just remember to communicate because that was their whole thing is they had no idea how to communicate with each other. And so just remember Paulette and hot UPS guy, communicate your feelings. No one is a mind reader. We all need to express our hearts and our needs and our desires to our partner.
Retweet.
So I always like to ask you, Mercedes, about love languages because we are both hopeless romantics who really operate off of the 5 love
Yes.
languages, but I like to dissect them for the characters. So can you tell me the characters, what love language do they give and what love language do they receive, in your opinion?
So for Elle, you really can tell that she loves to receive words of affirmation. That's when you know that she's like really getting a boost when she's getting like positive words her way because that's like her comfort. And
Yeah.
you can even see it with like Warner's annoying Pooh Bear nickname. I hate it, but like you can see it reassures her and it calms her down. And then you see like throughout the movie like Emmett's words of encouragement, like she feels so much better through like right before when they're strangers to the end, like he's there just like to give like little words to just be like, you got this, you know you do. And even like Professor Stromwell, right when Elle's like ready to quit law school, she's like, no, you better not. And like that really gives Elle the boost she needs. And I love seeing that
Yeah.
for her.
I agree. And I would also add too that acts of service, I think, is a love language that Elle gives because this whole
Yes.
movie is her doing something for Warner, right? Going to law school, studying, learning these things. And I think like at the dinner, like where Warner was supposed to propose to her, she's very verbal to him about like her love for him. I love that part where she's like, but I'm seriously in love with you. Isn't that enough? Like I cry every time. I know. So I would agree. Words of affirmation, I would add on acts of service too.
Yes, no, acts of service, and you can tell that she just shows up for people in such a strong way, and she does
Yeah.
it for Paulette right from the get go to get the dog, to teach her the bend and snap, and she does it for Brooke when she refuses to give Brooke's alibi away, and like she really stands up for the people she cares about, even if their relationship isn't that deep yet. She's there for you. Even like with the tall, quirky law student who like is trying to ask out that student at Harvard, and then Elle comes up and like really supports him in a way that like no one really knows what's going on. But it's just so sweet because like she just goes out of her way for other people, and I love that about her.
I do too. I mean, what kind of friend do you, or how would you think your friends would describe you, Mercedes? Would your friends describe you as that way too? Like you're the type of person that goes out of your way for other people?
I think emotionally, yes. I think I think I can be like the person people come to when they need to vent. That's definitely my role. How about you?
Yeah. 100%. I actually think I put my friends before myself a lot of the times because my friends are my chosen family. They mean the world to me. So I do think I show up to them. I show up for them in a unique way, and I hope that they see that. But I also have the loveliest friends in the world. Shout out to all of my good friends. You know who you are. I feel like too, you know, when we talk about this movie, we talk a lot about empowerment. We talk a lot about self-love. And a fun fact that I heard, Mercedes, is the average marriage in the U.S. lasts 8.2 years. So we won't go as far as 8.2, but do you see this couple lasting in 5 years? And when I say couple, I mean Elle and Emmett specifically.
Yes, hell yes, I do. With herself, she's flourishing. With Emmett, they are an independent couple and they're going to stay together. They are securely attached to each other, supportive of each other. And I don't know, like Emmett really loves how independent Elle is, which I really love. And he like loves how she speaks her mind, even when she's calling him a butthead. Like,
yeah.
He loves it. And like, honestly, all you want is like for the man you love to think of your successes as his own as well. Like he's right there cheering her on through the whole thing, and that's just what I love.
Yeah. Have you ever studied attachment styles, Mercedes?
A little bit. I've gotten into attachment styles recently. I like them.
So there's like four main attachment styles. And I do think like Emmett and Elle both have secure attachment styles, which is the best one that you want to have. And this is all shaped by like your experiences as a child. But I do think they have a secure attachment. That's why they are able to like be honest and vulnerable and critique each other, but also like be so supportive. And I do feel like a man who is secure in himself and is not insecure is never intimidated by a confident woman. And I really like that. So I see them together in 5 years too. But again, this is without context for the sequel because I haven't seen it a lot of times. So I don't know what happens in there.
Exactly. We won't pay attention to that because I don't remember either.
Exactly. Okay, good.
Also,
I'm glad
like,
I'm not the only one.
My wish for Elle is that she just like maintains balance in her life. I think as long as she can maintain balance between like amongst all her priorities, then she will continue to thrive.
100%. Oh gosh, speaking of Emmett and his secure attachment style, this is a section I like to call Heartthrob, where we just gush about the people that we love in this movie. I feel like Elle is my soul sister. She's just so energetic and like so unapologetically herself. And I feel like I would definitely show her off to my friends and family because everyone in my life would love her because we have the same type of energy. And I just feel like she would be a great best friend to just take along to the movies, to go shopping, especially like anything. She's a good person to hang out with. How about you, Mercedes? Would you introduce, like, who would you introduce in this movie to your friends and family?
Oh, well, like the heartthrob of this movie is Elle, all the way, forever and always. And I think us three, we would be like a bubbly duo, a trio, not duo. Like, we would be amazing. She should join the pod.
You know that scene in Mean Girls where like they're talking about the plastics and like that Missy Elliott song is happening and they're walking down the hall in slow motion?
Oh my God,
that's you, me, and Elle. That's us with Elle.
I'm seeing Karen falling into that trash can.
Yes. Pass that Dutch. Pass that Dutch.
Oh my God. And like we love Emmett because we love Elle and because he's here for Elle. Like I wouldn't care about him if he wasn't like fully celebrating her wins. And everyone out there, find a person who celebrates your wins. Like that's the bare minimum. Like that's really what you need. And I don't know, like they're both just so ambitious and he's ambitious and smart. She's ambitious and smart. And they both love that about each other. So, oh my God, I love it. I love it. I love it.
You want someone who's going to be your life cheerleader.
Yes.
That's what I like to say.
Exactly.
We are both huge fans of Emmett. Okay, so let's play, Mercedes, marry, screw, kill, right? You have to say who you would marry, who you would screw, and who would you kill. So the three people we're going to use, Warner, Emmett, and the hot UPS guy.
Oh my God. Okay. Bye, Warner, forever and always. Leave. Straight to the grave. Emmett, I love you. We're getting married. Hot UPS guy, you're coming home with me.
Okay. I see you,
I'm
Mercedes.
excited to hear what Kendra's gonna say because she continuously loves to throw me off with this one.
I do, and it's really bad. Okay.
Oh, no.
I need to give you context for what's informing my decision. I grew up on the Vampire Diaries. The Vampire Diaries is my deal, and Matthew
Yes.
Davis was in the Vampire Diaries, and I love his character. So, I'm going to marry Emmett. I'm going to agree with you there. I'm going to marry Emmett.
Okay.
But I am gonna screw Warner. I'm sorry.
Oh my
It's not
God.
even like it's because I love Matthew Davis and I could not kill him. So I'm sorry, hot UPS guy. You're the one going to the grave this round. Still love you though.
Oh my God. Warner gives me such like Patagonia vest financial district guy vibes.
Yeah,
that, like,
yacht boat shoes.
He makes me a little nervous. Yes, total boat shoes.
So, but I would love the listeners to tell us, who would you marry, who would you screw, who would you kill? Make sure to DM us at Meet Cute. We want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yes,
And
oh my
also
God.
tell us, am I being the villain? Am I being unreasonable? Because I feel like I'm always the antagonist. But
No. The thing we love about Kendra here is that she knows her taste. She knows what she wants.
oh.
I consistently go with what everyone probably is gonna like the safer choice, the
Yeah.
obvious. Kendra's here to mix it up. We love it.
But that's why we are like two peas in a pod, Mercedes. We go well together.
Exactly.
You know, we balance each other out, and I really like that.
Aw.
Let's talk pop culture, though. Before we wrap it up, guys, we always like to bring in a pop culture moment where we talk about the relevant things happening surrounding the movie or like characters in the movie today. And so I just have to say, Mercedes, Reese Witherspoon's daughter, Ava, is 22 years old, which is the same age as Elle in the movie, and looks exactly like her.
Oh my God, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane. Like, honestly, you put Reese Witherspoon and her daughter next to each other, I can't tell the difference.
Imagine being Ava and knowing your parents are Ryan Phillippe and Reese Witherspoon. Like I would be like, oh, I'm so blessed. Like my face is always going to be beautiful forever.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, I saw a photo of Reese's mom, Reese, and Ava, and they
Ooh.
look like Russian dolls. Like they all look the same. And it's so cute. And even like Reese's sons too, both all look like her.
What is your pop culture moment? I feel like you're going to talk about Mindy Kaling because you love her.
Any chance I get, I will. And
Yes.
Mindy Kaling is writing the third Legally Blonde movie
Stop.
as we speak.
Stop. Mindy,
she
what are
ever
you
stop
doing to our
working?
hearts?
Oh my God. I can't wait. I don't even know what to expect. Like, it's been so long. It's been 21 years.
I know. But honestly, I feel like right now at this time, if anyone can write, it's Mindy Kaling.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
we got to give it to her. Mindy is killing it in the game, and I'm absolutely obsessed with everything. Like, you know, we both watched The Sex Lives of College Girls, which, listeners, if
we
you haven't
love.
seen it, it's on HBO Max, but it's such a good show.
Yes.
It's
We
fun.
love the college content. Also, oh my God, another pop culture moment. Did you see that TikTok that talked about how Elle Woods would have been at Harvard the same time that Mark Zuckerberg was there?
You did say that. Is that insane?
It's crazy because then they were talking and they were like, okay, well, she would have been on the Hot or Not site that like was the original that birthed Facebook. And then other people were like, no, she was a grad student, so she probably like dodged it, fingers crossed, because that sounds like a nightmare. But like I would just love to see, like, I don't know, like Elle Woods and Mark Zuckerberg like go at it. Just like like she really put him in his place.
Yeah. Elle was the first person screaming "Eat the rich," I feel like. But I also feel like too, everyone would swipe hot on Elle Woods because like even in the remember when like Warner's playing football and she goes and lays in the lounge chair and all the football players like stop playing, they're like, oh, who is that? And everyone is always oogling over her in the movie.
Even like her admissions video, it's iconic. And like all of the faculty are judging her like, well, we've never had a fashion merchandising major. And it's like, well, you should, because she is a genius. And you know she's powerful right from the get-go when she's shopping and she calls out that woman for being like, you can't sell this to me full price. This is last season. I saw this in Teen Vogue last year.
Yeah.
So she knows her stuff right from the beginning. And I love that about her.
Absolutely. And listeners, we would love to hear what you love about this movie. I mean, we want to hear all of your thoughts. Tell us, is this a cult classic for you? How many times have you watched this movie? What time of the year? Who is your favorite character? What pop culture references have you seen in today, right now, that is tied to this movie? You can slide into our DMs at Meet Cute. Just want to thank everyone very much for joining us for our very first episode. Again, I'm Kendra. You can find me on Instagram at Ken10Hollywood and TikTok as well.
Yes, thank you guys. Tell us what movies you'd want us to talk about also. I've been Mercedes, and you can find me at MercedesGB11 on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're looking for new rom-coms, follow Meet Cute wherever you listen to podcasts. And follow Meet Cute on all socials everywhere. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. We'll see you next week.